believers of the way, and they say B.O.W. Bow, 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 bow. Okay, so they add the preposition in the acronym, but they don't add the article. Interesting. I mean, it could have been BTW. It could have been B.W. But they wanted to say B.O.W. It's actually B.O.T.W. But where did I leave off at before I dozed off last night? Yeah, no, I don't do late lives. Okay, so let's see where I left off at. I established that to bring out 16. There's a lot of things in the Bible verse and say, hey, man.
Not to say that I don't believe in the translation. What I'm saying is the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. So basically, what is that saying? That's saying that when you get a translation of something, there's going to be translation errors, and there's also going to be grammatical errors, and there's also going to be errors in comprehension and changing from one language to another language. So this is why, and this is why I say it's dangerous to say, like for instance, let's go back to Matthew. Then I'm gonna show you something. Yeah. So when you go to Matthew, when you say, well, see here, you say, see here, it says begot, and here it doesn't. I'm using this as an example, and here it doesn't say begot. So the author is letting us know that that's not his father. That's insertion.
Do you think so?
Because I think so, definitely. Because it's no. I'm gonna show you why that's insertion. Because for one, it's no way to tell what the author was thinking when he was writing it. Clearly, we got Rock is telling you.
See, and like this is the thing with these morons. They'll tell you insertion when you establish a fact or the most sense you can out of a reading. And then they will make an insertion and say it's not, it's a fact. So that's what these guys do. Okay, my boy. So there's no way to tell what the authors, okay, sure. That's not what the authors say. That's not what the scholars say.
When you translate something, forgive us, because it's hard to translate something. And this is not, and the Bibles we read it is a translation of a translation of a translation.
What is your name? What? Now, I didn't even, my man said a translation of a translation of a translation. Bro. Okay. I mean, I don't know where you read it. I don't know where you read that from. But, what's your name again?
Let me just say this. Ratazan. I'll say this real quick, and I'm going to let you get it.
Yeah.
Which is still amazingly accurate. Like amazingly accurate. So it's not to say that I don't believe in the translation. What I'm saying is how we read it is important. And so I'll read this last scripture down. I'll give it to you. So Psalms 119 and 104 says, "Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way." So the Bible is a code. I agree with you on that. But how do we read it? It's my understanding when I talk to anybody. Do we read it and
you got low again.
Oh, can you hear me?
I hear you better now, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna yield with this. So this is how I read it. The scripture says, through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. So when I'm reading the scriptures, I go to the precepts, or the different verses that establish each other, because that's what the Bible does. So I deal with this when I talk to Christians all the time when they try to fit certain things into the Bible, and I'm like, that doesn't even make sense when you read the context of what the historical narrative is and the chapters all are saying. And that's why I asked you, if your narrative is true, then according to the law, which is a precept, right? According to the law, it says if a woman is betrothed to a man and she lie with another man, then they both shall be put to death. According to you, and you say that Mary she didn't lie with no man, and Joseph, being a just man, which he was under the law, if we both agree to that, then it wouldn't have been no situation for him to think upon putting her away, because he understands that the law says she's supposed to be put to death. Period. It's no. Now, or if you want to say, well, he loved her so much, he didn't want to put her away. Okay. Well, how are they going to explain she's pregnant to the rest of the city?
Yeah, that's why I admit that was going to be difficult for him. And this, okay, so let me back up. All right, so I understand that, translations can be tricky. You got to understand that. That's why I try to carefully comb through the verses. Like I try not to just read a verse and say, hey, man, this is what it means, because sometimes I find myself disagreeing with what I originally thought. But I would say that the same way, but you can't blame me for not reading Joseph as the father and concluding Joseph ain't the father, right? So the same way you brought up verses that seem to point to your understanding, I can use that prologue to you and say, hey, brother, be careful. You might not be interpreting that right. So
not really, because I'm not going real quick. Not really, because I'm not dealing with certain words. I'm actually dealing with the precepts themselves. So when we read Deuteronomy 22, it read cleanly. There was no interpretation needed. A woman that's betrothed to a man, if she lie with another man, she shall die. That's
yeah,
not.
I'm gonna go back to that.
Yeah, I don't need to. Right. Let me just finish this. Right. Like, I don't need to interpret that. That's very straightforward. Now when you put that, all I'm asking you, and
let's
I'm not
go a little further. Some of that was Sarah said yesterday. Solomon begot. Okay, here we go. 16, I didn't write being,
according to the whole city that Mary was in, being under the Torah and the law. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Yeah, that's a heavy burden because, there's a lot of things in the Bible that wouldn't make sense to me as a fleshly human being, but to the Most High, it means it makes all the sense to a spiritual being. When he just throw out something, taking out the rib of Adam, whether you believe that's literal or metaphorically, it's still that the burden is not on me to make sense of that. It just, do I accept the word or not? And when he says 6 days, 7 days he rested. So
this scripture is not dealing with this scripture is not dealing. This is matter of factly, this scripture, because it's talking about marriage and Joseph and an act of something happening, right. Matter of factly.
Right. So let me.
So that's why I'm asking you,
and you'll get what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to 16. I'm gonna go back to Luke because I wrote it down. Right. So don't think I went to 16. I didn't write down everything you said. I was just pointing out that although what you said can make great sense, I was also showing how I'm not off either when it says, verse 16. So then I'll go back to what you did. So I was just saying 16. I went to 5 to show that when there's a mother and father relationship to a son, it's going to say Solomon begot, what's his name again? It's, so when you have a father-son relationship with the mother, it's going to say Solomon begot Booz of Rechab. That's flat out. And it's going to say Booz begot Obed of Ruth. So it showed you the nuclear family. It showed you Solomon. It showed you the son Booz. It showed you Rechab. So there's no debate. Everybody down. Even verse 6, it says, and Jesse begot David the king, and David the king begot Solomon, and Solomon is of her that had been the wife of Uriah, which is Bathsheba. So it shows you, once it shows the nuclear family, it's going to simply show you father begetting, and the kid is which is just born from the mother. So I established that to bring out 16, where it says, and Jacob begot Joseph, right? So we got a father, son, and then we got a son, Joseph, who just married. That's it. He just married Mary. And then we got Mary, of whom was born Jesus. So we got a single mother so far here. And so now I will go back and try to answer Luke. So when you said Luke, let me see what your question was. Luke.
Yeah, so let me just ask. So now that's good. So now let me ask the question again according to your understanding. So right. According to your understanding, how would it make sense, according to your understanding, that Joseph is thinking to put her away privately, seeing that she committed adultery before the angel visited him? Yes. And then the second question would be, well, he didn't want, if you say something like, well, he didn't want to put her away because he loved her and whatever. Let's just say you just say that, right? And then the angel comes and gives him clarity. How do they explain that to the rest of the city All right. How do they explain that to the rest of the city, seeing that if Joseph, well, let me back up. Let me back up before I get to that point. If I'll just say it slow so you can answer it. I don't want to stack too many questions on one.
I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down. It's okay.
Okay, fine. So the first question is this: if Joseph is thinking to put her away privily, but she's pregnant, how would that work? Seeing that she's pregnant and she's going to show forth a baby, and then they're divorced. He put her away privily.
Okay. So let me just knock out the first thing, the Luke one, because I'm one of those that was under the impression that Mary was pregnant. You know, when the angel got done with her, she was pregnant. So I just want to tackle that first. Now that I could just close Luke out. I got my finger on this one. So just let me close out Luke. So when 30, oh, you know what?
So we're gonna get back to the question. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back, just go forward, because I don't want to go Luke after I'm done with all this. Go back to Luke. I'm gonna lose.
Well, Luke, well, before you do that, it all coincides because my question is still gonna.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay,
You break it.
I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. So there's a couple things here because you tied in Mary and Elizabeth. Okay. And there is some similarities there, right? But you also could tie in Zacharias and Joseph. So if you look at verse 13 in Luke chapter 1, then I'm gonna go all the way to where I was gonna go. So if you go to Luke chapter 1, verse 13, it says, "But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard. Your wife Elizabeth shall bear you a son." So the angel told him flat out, no immaculate here, no immaculate conception, right? As far as actually, let me just say no virgin birth. It says, "And your wife shall bear you a son, and you're going to call his name John," right? So it's flat out, you're the father, right? So when it comes to Mary, it says, which verse is that? Okay. Oh, here we go. 31. It says, "Behold, Mary, you shall conceive in your womb and bring forth a son and call his name Jesus," right? "And he shall be great and he shall be called." So these are all prophecies. He shall be great. He shall be called the Son of the Highest, which is the Father, right? He should be called the Son of the Father. That's the name should be given to him. He should be referred as the Son of the Father. But Mary said this in 34. She said, Mary understood it how I understood it. How are you going to have this baby if you ain't sexually active? And let's say if she go back home and become sexually active, then she wouldn't have said this right here. She said, "How shall this be, seeing I know not a man?" So I took that as Mary understood the message to be, you're going to be pregnant before you go home. So, and this is why the angel answered this way, because he would just say, "Go home and find out." But he said, "And the angel answered and said unto her, The Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the high shall overshadow thee. Therefore, that holy thing which shall be born of you shall be called the Son of God," right? So because of this, because you be pregnant this way, your baby should be called the Son of God. And then he mentioned Elizabeth. He said, "And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth." So he's showing her a token, right? The Lord always give tokens. He said she also conceived in her old age, right? And she was called barren. She's 6 months pregnant. So he's saying, if you think what's going to happen to you is miraculous, look at your cousin. She's also dealing with a miraculous birth. She's old and she's barren. So in Mary, life, that's impossible. So then he said, verse 37, he said, "For with God nothing shall be impossible," right? So this is an impossibility for Mary and for Elizabeth. That's why he ended with, "Hey man, stop doubting. Nothing is impossible for God. This is easy." So now in 38, it says, "And Mary said, Behold, the handmaid of the Lord, be it unto me according to thy word. And the angel departed from her." So she agreed. She said, "Okay, let it happen as you said it's going to happen." So we look at that as she's pregnant at that point. And let me just show you here. So I went over this. I want to go to Matt. Did I already tackle Matthew 1? Because like I'm not reading that, whatever crazy read. Yeah, I already touched over this. Okay. Yeah, I touched on. That's why I agree with you. Had he put her away and she's pregnant and father,
Without sin, cast the first stone.
we touched on that.
Not what I'm saying, and that's not what the. So, regardless if you have an evil suspicion, you still have to bring her to the priest.
Okay. Talked about
And he saying to the woman, "The Lord make thee a curse and an oath among thy people." He is already swollen by the curse that was placed upon her. The marriage that you was talking about, I haven't even gotten to number. And the husband has an evil suspicion. No, that's not what a Hebrew marriage is. What? Let me ask you this: what is a Hebrew marriage? What does a Hebrew marriage look like?
Okay, so it could be one or two things. You could actually know your wife, like Cain. You can find your wife in the land of Nod and know her, and she could become your wife. Or you can take a wife, right? You could take a wife and then go into her later.
Show me a bit. Let me ask you more of a straighter question. Yeah. Show me a biblical marriage in the Bible.
Okay. What you mean? What you mean? Show you? Okay. So
show me because there's biblical marriages in the Bible.
He knew his wife. There you go.
No. Show me an actual. Do you know any biblical marriages where we can literally see the step-by-step plays of a marriage ceremony and the whole nine? Can you show me?
We can find one, I think, in Daniel, and I think we can find one in somewhere in, I think, Matthew's 2. There's a feast going on, but obviously that's not everybody. Everybody doesn't take on a feast.
No, that's not. Yeah, no, that's not. So you could go to Joseph. I mean, not Joseph. You could go to Jacob.
Where Leah, where he gave a feast for. But what about Rachel?
With Leah and Rachel. Let's go there. That's
wait. No, we ain't gotta go there because we both know. I'm saying, and this is like kind of going somewhere else. So
it's not. No, it's not.
Look. Here's the point. The point is that he had 2 women, right? So that was actually Laban giving a feast for Leah. He didn't want Leah, he wanted Rachel, but he was trying to bribe him to work for Leah, for
That's
Rachel.
That's not my point. My point is, do we have examples of a biblical marriage? Because
but what does that got to do? I'm sorry, but what does that have to do with reading?
Wait. It has a lot to do. But listen,
okay,
if you listen for a second,
I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you listen for a second, you'll know what it has to do.
And
this is Deuteronomy 22. You said this out your own mouth. Okay. I followed you. You said she was not married, and then you said she was married in the same verse.
No, I said, okay, brother. I said you can be betrothed and married. I said it's interchangeable. That's what I said. I didn't say what you said. I said it could be interchangeable. No. I never said that. I said you could be interchangeable. I said you could be married and betrothed at the same time. And you said find it. And I read Deuteronomy 22 and 23. That's what you actually read. That's why I was confused with how you missed it. But go ahead.
Okay. This is Deuteronomy 22 and 23. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband. Did this woman know anybody yet?
She's a virgin, no.
Okay. Did Mary, according to your understanding, did Mary know anybody yet?
Out of her own mouth, she said no.
Okay, she said no. So it says, verse 23, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. So now, I walk with you, because you said, well, that's both the man and woman there. I'll walk with you. I'll agree with you on that. So when you read Matthew, you don't see another man there. Joseph didn't catch her in the act of laying with a man. So we both agree on that. That's what the text says cleanly. But what we do understand is that, and this is what you brought out, that Numbers chapter 6. Well, and I think you hold on real quick. I think you answered that because you said, Numbers chapter 6, you said that Joseph was thinking about it, but he didn't do it yet before the angel got to him. And I said, okay, cool. And then I said that falls in line with my next question, which you haven't answered yet, because I figured you would give.
What question was that? I answered all your questions. Okay. What question?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so
you
what's
answered the question. Listen, you answered the question in the aspect of with Joseph, because I asked you 2 questions, and I attempted to ask them both cleanly. So the first question
let's go one by one then, because maybe I answered the second one, not the first one. Let's do one by one.
Okay, that's what I want to do. The first question was, if Joseph find her, him being a just man, wouldn't he cause her to be divorced according to the law. You say, yeah, and then you brought out number 6. Correct me if I'm wrong. You brought out number 6 and to say that that's what Joseph was thinking to do.
No. That's not what I said. But go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Let me just finish first. You could correct me if I'm wrong.
You asked me a question. You asked me, were you correct? I say no.
Okay, cool. Well, let me finish then. Yeah. You said, because you hold on. You brought out number 6, not me. Why did you bring out number 6?
So can I answer? Because I was saying that there are 3 different ways you can put away.
You said there was not 3 different ways though to divorce or put away a woman.
No. See, you got to let me answer if you ask a question. So I said there's 3 different ways to deal with adulterous wife. You can give them the holy water, you can write a bill of divorce, or you can get them stoned. That's what I said.
So there's 3 different ways. You said that out of your own mouth. You said there's 3 different ways. You just said you didn't say it was 3 different ways, but now you're saying there is 3 different ways. Correct?
I said what I said. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, cool. So you said, okay, so now I'm finished. So you said there's 3 different ways. All right. I said that there's not 3 different ways in dealing with adultery. There's only 2 things that we see dealing with adultery. There's Deuteronomy 22, and there's Numbers chapter 6. Deuteronomy 22 is dealing with if you catch them in the act, like literally doing it. And Numbers chapter 6 is if you have an evil suspicion. Both of those situations lead to death. So now,
wait, hold on. Because out of those 3, there's only 1 confirmed case of adultery.
I didn't say 3.
No, I'm saying out of the 3 options I proposed, there's only 1, the Numbers 5, the Joseph thing, and Deuteronomy 22. Out of those different events, there was only 1 confirmed case of adultery. And the 4th one was the one you mentioned with Jesus. But when it came to Joseph and Numbers chapter 5, there is no confirmed case of adultery.
What are you? Wait, hold on. You conflating 2 things that I'm not even talking about.
I'm just giving clarification for the record.
Listen. Okay, cool. So let me clarify. You just said there's 3 different ways to divorce somebody for adultery. Yes,
brother. Okay.
You just said that there's 3 different ways.
All right. So just finish. So I can go. Just finish.
Okay. No. You just said that there's 3 different ways to put somebody away for adultery. You just said that. I said that there's not 3 different ways to put someone for adultery. There's only 2 mentions of what you do and how you deal with adultery in the law, and that's Deuteronomy 22 and it's Numbers chapter 6. Deuteronomy 22 is dealing with you catch the people in the act, and they both shall be stoned. Because it also goes into betrothal and also goes into a man that is married. So when you catch them in the act, they should be stoned. Numbers chapter 6 is if you did not catch them in the act, but you have a suspicion that your wife is cheating on you, then you shall bring her to the priest. And if it is found out that she is cheating, meaning committing adultery, then she shall have rottenness in her body and eventually die. Those are the only 2 aspects dealing with adultery, and both of those aspects lead to a death. Now, you said there was a 3rd one. I'm trying to ask you, where is the 3rd aspect of how you can get rid of a woman for adultery?
Is it my goal or are you still going?
It's your goal now.
Okay, cool. So we are so far from what's going on. So let's go back to Joseph, because we are very far. They usually run away from the topic. And this is mistakes I was doing with them months ago. I would go through these rabbit holes with trying to win every point. I since learned that that's not the best way to go about it, as you can see from my most recent dialogues. Anyway, far from Joseph. I don't know.
Are you gonna answer the question?
Okay, is it my goal or is it not?
You gotta answer the question.
There's no type that they do. They stick you to a question. You gotta answer. Like, dude, stop it. You got questions. I got questions. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go because I don't want to dig. I don't want to be dictated how to go and when to stop.
Are you gonna answer my question though, brother?
I want to just go. Can I just go? Or you can continue.
But are you going to answer my question though?
You let me go and you'll see. You gotta let me go first. Okay.
Okay, because
the one thing I don't do is ask questions. I just tell the story. That's all. So, and I thought you would do that.
We're having a dialogue, but brother, we're having a dialogue.
I got you. But it might go. Okay, look, 2 minutes just passed.
That's what I got invited for, to talk and ask you questions.
Right. So okay,
but you're not answering the question. You're not answering the question.
Okay. Well, you don't know. You won't let me talk. The question might be in what I got to. The answer might be in what I got to say. But let me talk. Okay. So let me go.
Ahead. Let's see
okay.
if you answer.
So I want to bring it back to Joseph. So Joseph, her husband, being a just man, not one to make her a public example, was minded to put away privily. Okay, so now let's go to the privily part, right? Which you didn't want to address. I'll go there.
I didn't want to address.
Yeah, the divorce part. We never got there. All right.
Come on, man.
So I'll go there. Okay. So we got, because from what I just heard from you, the woman that was found in adultery, they found only one woman. So according to what I heard from you, she's not supposed to be stoned now because they didn't find the other guy. They found one person. So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So they found one party. Okay. Well, Joseph found one party. He didn't find two. He found one. Okay. So with that being said, the only case we got where two parties were found is Deuteronomy 22. As a matter of fact, we didn't even find two parties in Numbers chapter 5. So we only found one case of actual adultery. Okay. So now, Deuteronomy 24:1. When a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes because he had found someone. She has found no favor in his eyes because he had found some uncleanness in her. Then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. That's what Joseph was doing to Mary. Okay, so we don't know about, he didn't catch two people. He found one person, just like the Pharisees or whoever it was found one person. So same thing here. So then he says, but that's called uncleanness. He see her pregnant though. She's definitely, I ain't find a guy. I didn't catch you in the act. I just see you pregnant. So I want to know what's up with that. So I'm going to decide to make a public example. Hey, everybody. Or I can write you a bill of divorcement. Okay, so when he was, and that's what Matthew's 20 was saying right here. It was saying that mine put away privately. Put her away means divorce. That's all I want to say, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Let me correct you. John 8 and
don't correct me.
I'm gonna start at 3. So you lied on me. I did not say that they didn't find a man there. I actually said the opposite, and on the scriptures.
I didn't say that, brother. I didn't say
that. Yes, don't interrupt me, King. Let me finish. John 8:3. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery, and when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act, meaning she was laying with that man and got found in the very act. So that's one case of two men being there. All right. I mean, a man and a woman, Salakia. The man being there with the woman. Okay. She was found in the very act, but they took the woman and did not take the man. Now I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 22. All right. So and I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but I'm going to paraphrase. Deuteronomy 22 says, if a woman is found betrothed to a man and she lie with another man, she shall be put to death. All right. And that man shall also be put to death. So now that's 2 chapters where we see where if a man and a woman are found, they both shall be stoned. We agree on that. Now, when you go back to number 6, and this is the aspect that you said Joseph was doing, because Joseph didn't catch a man with her in the act. Actually, number 5. It's not even number 6. It's number 5. Let's get the context of this. So this is Numbers chapter 5, verse 14. And the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled. Or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled, meaning defiled with laying with another man. Verse 13 says that. Verse 13 says, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither shall be taken with the manner. Neither she be taken with the matter, and the spirit of jealousy come upon him. So meaning, if a man, verse 13 is saying, if a man is suspicious of his woman having sexual activities with another man, then this is what he should do. He should take her to the priest, and they should perform this particular curse upon her. So now, both of those things have to do with adultery. Numbers chapter 5 and Deuteronomy 22. Numbers chapter 5 is dealing with if you don't find the man. Deuteronomy 22 is if you find the man and her, if you catch them in the act. We got that. Me and you agree on that. You brought out, I think you brought out Exodus of if you find some uncleanness in her. Let's go to that one real quick, and then I'm gonna go to Matthew, and then I'm gonna yield for you. But I want to go to, what was the last chapter you pulled out of find any uncleanness? Was that Exodus?
It was Deuteronomy 24:1.
Okay, let's go there real quick because you pulled it out, so I want to address it.
Yeah, okay.
So Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. When a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes. So you're very into context of the actual written language of how it's written.
Oh, shit.
This does not say anything about adultery. This does not say anything about fornication. It says that she find no favor in his eyes. Maybe she can't cook the way.
And maybe she was an adulterer as well. If your wife is an adulterer, she has no favor in your eyes. You know? So we're gonna include everything but adultery. Do stop.
Father said she can cook. Maybe the father gave her certain tropes that she's not living up to, and he's like, this is not what I signed up for, because he has found some uncleanness in her. When you look up that word uncleanness is not dealing with adultery. I have my blue letter right here. We can look it up and go into. That's not dealing with adultery. It says, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it to her in her hand and send her out of the house. And when she is departed out of the house, but let's see when it does talk about adultery. And when she is departed out of the house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, right, not adultery, but he don't like her, and write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. Why? This is talking about adultery. After that she is defiled, for that is an abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to inherit. So if a man divorce a woman, that first husband, and she goes and remarries another, that first husband cannot go and retake her. But this whole instance is not dealing with adultery. This is dealing with he finds no favor in her. Deuteronomy 22 and Numbers chapter 5 is talking about adultery, and both of those judgments are death. Now, this leads to my question that I wanted you to answer earlier, and then I yield. I give it to you, and I'm going on mute, and I'm not saying nothing. If I walk with you and I say, okay, according to the law, Joseph didn't find the other man, so according to the law, he would have to do Numbers 5. And you agreed with me earlier and said yes. But you said the angel came to him before he could do Numbers chapter 5. Cool, no problem. I'll walk with you on that. I asked you a two-part question. That still doesn't answer my second question. How would they explain that to the city, seeing that they had not come together yet, meaning they had not come together into the marriage chamber and perform a righteous marriage according to the law? Which that's why I asked you, how do you conduct a righteous marriage according to the law? According to the law, Joseph must go to the father.
What law is that?
They must court. They must get approved.
I do kind of read that.
After they court, and during the courting phase, they're betrothed, meaning promised to each other. And then after they fulfill the dowry, then they go into the marriage chamber, and then they consummate their marriage. This had not taken place yet because Joseph was thinking to put her away. All right, according to your understanding, this had not taken place yet, meaning they had not went into the marriage chamber legally under the watchful eye of the father yet. So if Joseph was like, you know what, we're going to hide this pregnancy, would the city and the father and the priest ask questions, how is she married if you guys did not come together to finish the marriage yet? I mean, pregnant. How is she pregnant? The city would surely ask questions. The priest would surely ask questions. And the father would ask questions. And she's walking around with a big stomach and she's not married yet. How do you explain that with your understanding of her not knowing a man and being pregnant? That was my second question.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. So how come they didn't stone the woman with Jesus again? What was your reason?
It was two reasons. The first reason was because the man wasn't there and she was caught in the very act of fornication. And also because the judges at that particular time were wicked for not ingesting right judgment according to Deuteronomy 22. So that was my statement.
Okay. So the law says if you're caught in an act and they don't find both, yeah, both don't die. I mean, I'm sorry. If you're caught in if you got both caught in an act, but they only find one, you get to live.
No, if how do you wait? You can't both be caught in the act and then they find one. No.
No.
They both were caught. No, this is what I'm saying.
You said that earlier. You said they were both caught in the act. You said both of them were caught in the act. You said that.
Both were caught in the act. Yes. And the Pharisees were supposed to bring both of them to get stoned. Absolutely.
So if you bring one, if you bring one, that person doesn't die. That person lives.
No, that's not the point. That's why I said there's two reasons why she didn't get stoned. The first reason was because the man wasn't there, and that was a wicked act by the Pharisees. That's why he said to them, "Ye without sin cast the first stone."
What law is that, by the way?
He didn't say don't stone her. He said, "Ye without sin."
Yeah, but what law is that?
The first stone.
Yeah, but what law is that? That if you're without sin, you can't stone nobody. I'm sorry.
That's the law. Easy. That's the law of being a righteous judge. Do you want to go to those laws and read them?
Wait, I'm just trying to establish something. So the woman was caught in the act, and he was too, but because they only brought her, she's not worthy of death at that point.
That's not what I said, and Christ didn't say that either.
I'm just asking about that. The woman.
No, I'm answering you. I answered you.
So I'm dealing with the woman. So was the woman caught in the act of adultery?
Yes.
Okay. The law says she should die, right? She should be stoned to death.
Yep, her and the man, absolutely.
Right, but they got her though. So
they took only her. Yep, absolutely.
Right, but she was still caught, and she was an adulterer. So
absolutely,
isn't the law says she should die?
Absolutely.
Did she die?
No. Why didn't she die?
Okay, that part. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. When Christ caught her, did he say don't stone her? What did Christ say?
He is without sin.
He said, "Ye without sin cast the first stone." So if Christ wanted to, could he stone
her? If he wanted to, yeah, he could have. Well, yeah, actually, he's supposed to, because the person, the law is everybody who's witnessing. That's there when a person brought to the act of adultery. They're all supposed to pitch in.
Yes, I agree. So why did Christ not condemn her?
Because he was born to save you from your sins, stupid. He came to save people.
Because what was it? I'm gonna read John 3:17.
For God, we're gonna ignore that one. You know, the whole point of his birth is to save you from your sins. That's why he ain't stoned her. He was not supposed to kill people or deliver the wrath of law.
God sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Correct.
Right. The prophecy on his birth was to save people.
So wait, real quick. So did Christ still acknowledge what she did as a sin?
Yep.
Did what Mary did, was it a sin?
No.
Okay, so why are we bridging these two scenarios together when Mary did not sin? We both.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, these guys gotta be screened like for comprehension. Like really. Hold on. Yeah. A lot of times it don't be there. It is some of some of their reading comprehension, some of them. But some of them pretty much like know what you're doing and know the sense you're making, and they act like they don't. And I think this is one of those cases where he act like he didn't know what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, if I got to go back and tell him the point I'm making, it's just retarded.
Agree with that. Mary did not sin.
Right, I'm confused. So I was just going off the logic from Joseph at that time. He thought she sinned. He thought that she came home pregnant
right
with somebody else. Right. So now
right
he found an unclean thing in her, literally.
Well,
and
no, he didn't. Well, real quick,
Mhm.
let me correct you because
Yep.
I'm just walking with you.
Yeah, so they were masters in flipping the script, but I finally said, all right, let me just stick to the story, the topic.
I don't believe that he thought she sinned. You do.
No,
I
no, no,
believe
no,
something
no.
different.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Do you believe? Okay, so when it said that she was found with the Holy Ghost, do you believe she was pregnant when he seen her?
That she was found with the Holy Ghost?
Right. At that when it says that, do you believe he's looking at a pregnant woman?
No. I
Oh,
believe
okay.
they can't. I believe that according to, and I didn't give my dissertation on what I actually believe.
Yeah. That's why I'm confused. I'm thinking that
So
okay,
what
so
I believe
got it.
so what I believe is they came together before the actual marriage
Oh my
ceremony
God.
could take place, and there's
Yeah.
actually a law that speaks about that. If a man,
Tone, RCK, and anybody in the future reading this, they keep talking marriage ceremony. You don't read, and he and the other idiots are the other Hebrew illiterates are quick to tell that you're to them that's not an insertion. Like, dude, you just placed that in the verse. That's not that's the epitome of eisegesis. Like you just put that there. Nothing.
go into a woman
All right,
without
wait
the
before you
father's.
wait before you do that because I got to work in a little like in literally now. So I just want to so we could talk maybe later. All right, so that was it on that guy. Casual conversation, took it easy on him. Typical One West doctrine points. Confounded him many times. They're stuck. I mean, it's just weird. It's not really weird. Well, it's not really weird. Look at this guy. Hold on. Look at this guy. This guy.
Name is Harrison Lamont III. I prefer for it to be spelled capital H, lowercase
Now,
a.
this guy, we can laugh at him, but he's no different than these Hebrew Israelites, these Hebrew illiterates. He's no different.
R-R-I-S-O-N, and then Lamont to be spelled capital L, lowercase e, space, capital M, lowercase o-n, and that is the third.
Very well. Mr. Lamont III, how do you want to proceed on the speeding ticket and on the no ops ticket?
Your Honor, I'm looking to settle all of these charges today. I do not want to go to trial. I'm not, again, I've said this several times. I'm not looking to create any controversy. I'm just looking.
A One West Hebrew Israelite.
looking to settle this matter as quickly and as amicably as possible.
Said
And
she was
could
found pregnant. They were both told the child was from the spirit. I don't know how we're, Joseph regression from having sex, right, verse 25. Yeah, bro, they don't get it because they're indoctrinated like this brother right here. The judge is talking to this dude over and over and over, saying, dude, what you think is legal, you were taught incorrectly. Whoever told you that this was legally, you should have fact checked. You should have asked people in the business. It sounds good, so we take it hook, line, sinker, and we don't want to question like objective people. That's why you're supposed to try it out on certain people that got different views. Peer review.
All right, I don't think that you're willing. I don't say that you don't want to be amicable about it. I mean, that you're any way disrespectful. You haven't been ever disrespectful. You were in here last time and very respectful. So you just have to either take the offer and plead to it. But the problem is it doesn't seem like you're going to want to plead to it and make an actual basis about it.
You're absolutely correct, Your Honor.
They look at the super more.
And the reason being that he won't want to plead to it is because Morris science has corrupted his brain.
And to him, the judge is just, he don't value the judge education, experience, expertise, none of that stuff. Like to this weirdo, you look at the judge as just a guy that's in the way. Like, dude. And when you talk to these One West Hebrew illiterates, like, this is why most of them won't talk. Like, you gotta bare teeth to get them to talk to you. Most won't talk to you. They act like they're so busy, you gotta really like harass them and get them to hop on your damn Zoom.
What is the offer, Your Honor?
Let's get APA Cole back in here and see what she's going to offer.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Let's go back on the record with Mr. Lamont Bay III. Now, APA Cole, Mr. Bay wants an offer to resolve the matter. What would his offer be? And we'll just one offer for all three.
I did, Attorney Harris did email me recently. It was expired plates, isn't that correct?
It's expired plates, speeding in 16 to 20 in a construction zone, and a no-ops ticket.
I would want him to be responsible on the speeding, and I would do a fail to display and dismiss the expired plates. But he would have to plead on the nose to the speeding, because that's in a construction zone, which is very dangerous.
Listen. I'm not going to. I respect your offer, Ms. Cole. Typically, if it's 3 tickets, it's one for 3. I mean, I just have to be. I just want to be fair across the board to everybody.
I understand, Judge. It's just that if the trooper, they get such a hard time from Mr. Bay. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to call him Mr. Bay. That he was very upset about this case, and I'm just concerned that is he going to get stopped again and still have these same excuses that he's above the laws, the traffic laws, and he doesn't require.
Well, and I'm concerned about it too, and I'm concerned about it to the point where Mr. Bay, I don't agree with your position in society, but everybody has makes their own choices and things like that. So I'm not gonna pass any judgment on that, right? But I do have a problem, like I asked you earlier, as far as you not feeling it's what I get, and I am taking our previous people that take your position as I understand your position by saying that nobody was injured or nobody was hurt, but I do have an issue with people saying that they can go 16, and especially that excessive speed in construction zones and things like that, and for them not to, the officer not to have any jurisdiction over them. I just ask everybody that takes that position, how else is there going to be order? How else is there going to be, what's going to stop Mr. Lindsay from going 16 to 20 over? What's going to stop Trooper Shields from going 16 to 20 over if nobody has any jurisdiction over it? So I understand APA Cole's apprehension. You're muted, sir.
I hear what you all are saying, and I'll continue to say I'm not attempting to bring in controversy in my times on the road, on this instance, and the time that we are encountering, or the time that we are discussing now. The construction zone was that is an area that I travel. The construction zone was brand new. The speed limit there is actually 50 when it's not a construction zone. I was unaware. It was not an intention. I'm not. When I say I wasn't intending to do harm, and I was intending to fulfill the spirit and soul of law, there's no. I wasn't. I literally am only attempting to live peacefully and be in line with with my God, and that means bringing all of you and anybody else that I encounter. That's why I keep pointing out, hey, I'm not attempting to bring any controversy or anything like that.
Well, this is proceeding at its nature, period. Somebody says you did something, you may say you didn't. And now you kind of give me better clarity on what was going on. And I think that does make a difference when you make that statement. Like, hey, I'm not contesting that I was going this fast necessarily, but I didn't know that the construction zone was in place. So it kind of, because what I'm looking at it as, and I'm sure APA Cole is looking at it as, this is 35 mile an hour zone. And if you say you didn't know, but also APA Cole back here. I mean, obviously for this plate, if you still have this kind of plate on your car, probably so, but that's a different nature than at least than the speeding ticket where somebody can get injured or killed or seriously hurt or something like that.
Understood. I have children. I don't want to hurt anybody either.
We can work with the speeding, Your Honor, but I'm just, like I said, the troopers have it's so much flack when they pull someone over and like, do you have a license? Well, I don't have to have it because the debtors, and I just don't want, it'll be continued and we'll be back here. And
Exactly. If you cut this Morris sovereign citizen a break, he is going to think he won, and he is going to continue doing these things. Do not cut this Morris fool a break.
Well, I'm sure that we'll do it this way. I have no doubt that Mr. Bay is going to continue to take that position.
Right. So that's the issue with these guys. All right, so I'm done with that. I'm gonna go on my other channel and do some Negro news. Thank you. Out of here.
You grant a plea of release?
No, I'll deny that.
Just for the record, Your Honor, this is Paula Cole on behalf of the people. It's my understanding it's just 2 charges today, no operator's license and no insurance. And there was a violation of vacant.
And I guess you can make that argument, but the simple thing I ask in these cases is how, if the speed limit is 25 miles per hour, it's the other thing to suggest that the device is miscalculated and it wasn't working properly. I don't know what else is other defense that you could raise, but those are just 2 off the top of my head. And then, but other than that, I mean, from nobody's fault here, the court did not summons a jury for some reason or another.
Honor,
With the nonsense, please.
Okay, so Harrison Lamont Bay, what would you like to do?
Your Honor, I think noted. Please.
Miscount working properly, 35, right? How are you able to do that and not have and suffer any repercussions and nobody else can?
Your Honor, I can't speak to that fact.
Okay,
Again,
so what do you want to do?
I am simply here.
So, Harrison Lemon III, can you unmute yourself?
To appear, and I said, no, I can call him right back if you.
He's in here.
Oh, just,
Let's call the case.
which guy is here? Okay.
Let's call the case. I'm Harrison Lamont Bay III, or Harrison Lamont Bay on behalf of that and the surety of that. I mean, you sound like you're very familiar with him.
If you're not familiar with him, then how?
Bay the third.
It sounds like you're very familiar.
Lunatic. Like, what is wrong?
No, let's get this guy. Let's